Philadelphia Eagles sent a direct shot out to Jalen Hurts, and they made sure that it was felt. Now, what does this mean, and what could the fallout be from this? We gonna talk about it. Let's get into it. So we saw a very revealing article come out from Jeff McClain and Jeremy Follower from ESPN. Very detailed article. If you guys have not read it, it's been out for a few days. I want to wait for a minute, let the buzz die down. You know, I want to bring context to the situation. I'm not going to just run with a story. You know, it's very easy to do that. I think that's low hanging fruit, but I'm going to give you my opinion and what I think is going on. So these guys wrote, again, a very revealing article, and the article was very detailed. And, you know, when you read that article, you look at why A.J. Brown felt the way that he felt. Everyone felt like A.J. Brown was the issue. And the thing is, we never heard anything from A.J. Brown's teammates about A.J. Brown being a bad teammate or anything of that nature. We actually heard the opposite, how he's a team first guy and everything else. But these reports on Jalen Hurts has been coming up the last 6-8 months, and no teammate really goes to bat for him. They don't really go to bat for him. You know, it's been some, whether you feel like they're hit pieces or not, no teammate comes to his defense. Then we go to find out how he's standoffish and he's trying to be, everybody feels like he's image first now ever since he won the Super Bowl. And we all see the PR run that he's on. And like I said, if those opportunities are there, go get them. You know what I mean? But he has to understand that he is the franchise guy. And I think he has not learned how to put those two things together. And, you know, teammates see that. Like I said, they said that Jalen is very standoffish. He's not having fun. He doesn't want to be around his teammates. And, you know, it's a very ugly situation. And, you know, we got the media pundits out here and former athletes that's trying to go to bat for him. And the first thing they want to bring up is his stats. He was 57-25 over his Philadelphia Eagles career so far. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's outdueled Patrick Mahomes twice in them. He's won one of them. When you look at that resume does look amazing. But that's still called the surface. Here's the parts that people don't want to add. Howie Roseman and Co. has fielded a great team around him. He's had one of the best offensive lines in history. You had Jason Kelsey. You got Lane Johnson. You had a Mekhi Becton that was on a warpath, to solidify himself back in the league after coming from the Jets. You got, that offensive line has just been stout, right? Then you get a Saquon Barkley, a guy who had all the talent in the world coming from Penn State. He was in New York, never reaching that potential. He finally got that chance with the Philadelphia Eagles, and he showed out. 2,000-yard running back. Then you got A.J. Brown, big-time receiver. Be looked at as a top-5 receiver. You got one of the more underrated receivers in the league at Devontae Smith. You got Ballers, one of the best tandems in football. You got a Dallas Goedert. He ain't no slouch. So when I say all these things, you have a offense that any quarterback that can be average, that can run whatever system that the offensive coordinator has set up. And if they're average, that team should still be able to do numbers, which the Philadelphia Eagles did. They also had a defense. They had the Darius Slays, and then they drafted Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, and they found Reed Blankenship off the street, turned him into a all-pro type player. And, so the Eagles organization has been good for years. I mean, we look back all the way back to when they drafted Donovan McNabb. That organization has pretty much been the model of consistency almost 30 years at this point, and it hasn't stopped. They had their little down spots, but for the most part, that organization has been good. And Jalen Hurts has benefited from it. Jalen Hurts is what I call an overachiever. And people look at it and they may think of that in a negative context. And it's not a bad thing. He was somebody that was just supposed to be a filler. When he was drafted in the second round, he was not looked at as the guy that was going to start over Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz was supposed to be there for the next however many years, and Jalen Hurts was looked at as the backup guy. He succeeded the backup talk, became a starter, and even got paid. But now you're looking for Jalen Hurts to go to that next level. You're looking for him to be that guy. And it was all good when Jalen Hurts' contract, um, when before it was time for him to get paid, it all worked out. Hey, he's playing under the radar. Jalen Hurts is worth the money, when the contract negotiations come up. And even when the Eagles paid him this recent contract for the 200 million, it was very team friendly, which is why we're at this situation now. And in 2027, all the guaranteed money is gone. Like I said, Howie Roseman, he's playing chess, not checkers. Um, let's call a spade a spade. Jalen Hurts has not lived up to being a franchise QB. Has he been serviceable? Yes. Does he do some things well? Yes. But the book is out. We just saw Levante David talking about him. He has no fear. Jalen Hurts, when we game playing against the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts was very low on the list of the players to worry about. And this isn't the first NFL player to say that. He is just not a elite trait type of quarterback. He's slow processing. Um, then I also think that he puts his image in front of football at this point right now. So I think the Eagles sent a very clear message and said, "Hey, we've tried to protect you. We want you to be the guy." He's looked at as the guy of the NFL, as the go-to spokesman type of guy, the clean cut guy. So the Eagles' best interest to make sure Jalen Hurts has everything around him so that they can continue winning. The perfect marriage, right? But we all know when you start losing, the cracks start to show. And we saw him on the field. And let's talk about the field. You put him on the field, everything is out routes, everything is to the sidelines. He don't want to go over the middle of the field, and everybody blamed Kevin Patullo. Everybody blamed Brian Johnson when he was there. And everybody wants to bring up, hey, he had 7, 8 coordinators, since he's been a Philadelphia Eagle. And Tom Brady only had 4 coordinators his whole time. All of that is true. Two things can be right at the same time. But here's the thing. He had coordinators that made him look so good, that made Jalen Hurts look so good, that they were able to go get jobs elsewhere. And he had very average coordinators, maybe a Brian Johnson. We don't know if he was average or not, but this was his first time stepping into that space. And Kevin Patullo, that may have been average guys. And being that Jalen Hurts has average talent, you got very average to below average results. What else do you expect? The Eagles is an organization of greatness. They have been winning for a long time. They're going to have turnover because they have an organization that is about winning. That's what happens. You build a tree, an organizational tree, scouts, um, people on the coaching staff. Everybody is going to want somebody from the Philadelphia Eagles organization when they're winning, because they are an organization that has been stable almost 30 years. So when you see Jalen Hurts go through a thing where he's had uh, a few different offensive coordinators, either the offensive coordinator with Jalen Hurts is getting the job done, and they're going to go elsewhere to go get their own team, like a Kellen Moore did, like a Shane Steichen did, or they're going to be underwhelming, and the Brian Johnsons and the Kevin Patullos are going to be out on their butts. But here's the common denominator: Jalen Hurts is a very average quarterback who had certain elite traits. When Jalen Hurts first came out of school, no one looked at Jalen Hurts as an elite talent. He's an undersized quarterback. He may be 5'11". He is not 6 feet. Um, he didn't have the intangibles of a Kyler Murray. Um, Even when Russell Wilson came out to me, and Russell Wilson opened the door for a player like Jalen Hurts because he's only about 5'10". But when Russell Wilson first came out of school, elite athlete, was a baseball player, rocket arm, could do it all, could manipulate the pocket, throw on the run, and all those things. And we saw it as Russell Wilson got older. Russell Wilson slowed down, and all he could throw was the moon balls. Wouldn't throw over the middle of the field because he was trying to be perfect. Doesn't that look like the Jalen Hurts situation? Jalen Hurts looks the same way. One thing Jalen Hurts can do is he can throw that moon ball. But what about the rest of the field? He cannot diagnose what he's seen, period. He's just that type of quarterback. And maybe he gets better this season. Maybe he wasn't taking his craft as serious as he should be. But I'll tell you this, the Philadelphia Eagles got a plan, and I'm going to tell you what this plan is. Now, maybe I'm giving Howie Roseman too much credit, but the way they structured their deal, they were the only team to have a team-friendly contract with a quarterback. Meanwhile, Deshaun Watson got a guaranteed contract in Cleveland. Everybody else got these super huge contracts with these huge cap hits if they ever traded them or released them. Well, Jalen Hurts, all his guaranteed money is gone in 2027. Know what else is going on in 2027? This may be I know we've heard this a couple times, but this may be true. This may be one of the greatest quarterback drafts in history. Even if it ain't one of the greatest, we gonna say in the last 20 years. This class has about 15 quarterbacks that's coming out. Now, whether they live up to the expectations or not, we don't know. But it's being hyped up as that type of class where it's going to be at least 12 to 15 quarterbacks coming out of this class. Well, guess what? That makes sense, right? Because the Eagles looking at the situation saying if Jalen Hurts can't elevate us and he does okay, why would we turn around and then give him $300 million where he's essentially making Dak Prescott money, $60 million a year, hamstring our cap, and we can't continue to make moves? We got other people to pay at some point in time. But Jalen Hurts can't be a force multiplier on his team. So when you hear things about, well, he has this 57-25 record and he's won Super Bowls and all that, yeah, that's great. It really is. It adds another trophy to that trophy room for the Philadelphia Eagles. He did his job, but the sum of parts were just as great as him that night. And that run that the Philadelphia Eagles went on to win that Super Bowl 2 years ago was something that we have not seen. That team was dominant. A whole bunch of people got paid off of that team and got brand new jobs because of how dominant that team was. You're not going to see that every year. You're not going to have a perfect situation. And that's what Jalen Hurts had. He has a perfect situation. He's very flawed in a lot of things he does. And you hope he gets better. But like I said, now he's on a clock. He is on a 1 year pretty much prove it deal to see if he can get franchise type money going forward. Now he has Sean Mannion this year, came from Green Bay. He's going to run a lot of things from under center. What's the reports we heard about Jalen Hurts? He don't want to run things from under center. So this is going to be a make or break year for him. And then the other caveat to this is too, if Jalen Hurts struggle, it's a guy that's been backing him up for the last few years that Philadelphia fans are kind of itching to see. And I'm going to say me too. If you heard me talk about him, Tanner McKee. I think Tanner McKee has all the tools to be a very good NFL quarterback. And I honestly think that he'll run Sean Mannion's offense better than Jalen Hurts. And I also think that was the reason why they brought Kenny Pickett in last year to be the buffer between Jalen Hurts and Tanner McKee, because Tanner McKee is more of the natural passer. We got to see him in versus Dallas, I think, the last game of the year, and I think he played the Giants. I think that was last year or 2 years ago or something of that nature. And he was balling. He was getting the ball to everybody, and he looked really good. You saw A.J. Brown on the sideline happy and everything else because he can just naturally deliver the ball. He can see over the line. He's about 6'5", 6'6", got good accuracy now. Okay, we know the jury's still out on him because we got to see him in limited action. But if you don't think the pressure is on Jalen Hurts because they have a backup that they feel can at least run the offense, I got a bridge to sell you. And if none of this works out, they're going to get one of these quarterbacks in this 2027 draft. You know, if they get a Lenore Sellers or Dylan Rayola or Arch Manning or any of these quarterbacks, you know, and I'm just throwing names out here, so don't take it literally. But it's going to be a lot of guys coming out with a lot of talent. And with the Eagles, honestly, rather get one of these guys and maybe Tanner McKee be ready for 2027 without having to pay Jalen Hurts $300 million if he's not worth it, I think they would. So Jalen Hurts is on the clock. He's on the clock, especially when Sam Darnold just won a Super Bowl and he's only making $33 or $34 million a year, and the parts around him were pretty good. Just get us there and don't mess it up. Isn't that what happened with Jalen Hurts a couple years ago? So if Sam Darnold's not making $60 million, why would Jalen Hurts? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I had to get my piece on this because I've been seeing a whole bunch of comments about it and about how these are hit pieces on Jalen Hurts. No, it's not hit pieces on Jalen Hurts. They're trying to get his attention because they've been trying to talk to him for the last couple years. And the Eagles don't want to be the team that gave up on this quarterback, and all these narratives start going out here and they saying, after he won you a Super Bowl and all of these things, no, they want to make sure that he is their guy because a future investment is coming next year. And he's got to be ready. And you're not going to have the perfect team around you all the time to make it work. You're going to have to be a force multiplier. And if you're not a force multiplier, you're not going to be the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. Leave it in the comments below on what you guys think. To the next video. Peace.